Okay, just because there were so many students that were out today, I just wanted to catch up folks on what the software team did today. In our Google Drive Moonshots software Moonshots folder is our Eclipse project. This is my active project here. Usually this is a bad thing to be for multiple people to be editing and opening a single project at the same time. What I'm doing to compensate for that is keeping things backed up on GitHub. So that way, if our project gets corrupted because multiple people are saving to it at the same time, and or whatever the case may be, I can always restore it backwards. We've been following the Strongback Java example robot here. We've followed the instructions to make sure that this Strongback library is connected and working. We're using their library imports, their declarations of constants, so that way we can refer to what port this is connected to. There was some movement of these ports earlier today as they were working on the hardware, so we need to verify that these ports are in fact 2 and 1 and they haven't switched. The motors get instantiated here. This motor, you can click on this button here and see where it goes. So that way, do investigate, see where this is coming from what library stuff is written. And there was some discussion today. I told Mr. Hosh about that we might have talons. I thought they looked similar. I was incorrect. We in fact have Victor motor controllers. So I have changed that here. That may or may not have been a good idea, so I am unsure about that. We inverted it as well, and that was because we were driving backwards earlier, and so we added that. You can also, we worked on adding record no events and record no data, and that's because Strongback does a bit of and you can see that here where they're setting up this data recorder in the example code. And when they set up things here, they did not have as much record no. There is a known bug with the recording feature and a solution, but to avoid complexity, what we can do is just turn it off, and that's what Mr. Hosh suggested, and so that's why that additional data is there. So if you'll look here, this joystick accesses the throttle and maps it out and then binds it to this variable sensitivity, which is a continuous range variable, something I also need to investigate more about. But right here, it configures it so that the sensitivity of your pitch and roll of moving around the joystick is proportional to how that throttle is. So that way we can do fine movement and sensitive adjustments of the robot by making it less sensitive, so that way you can have a lot more flexibility. So that's really cool. However, we're not using an attack 3D. We're using an extreme 3D, and that may or may not be causing our problem. And there is a problem, and I'm getting to that. When we use our configuration that we set up by, let me show you here. We set the target to either test if we want to use the Strongback's most awesome unit testing feature, but before we can really concern ourselves with running a test for evaluating software, which really we're just trying to go forward. What we're actually looking at is the deploy feature, and you want to make sure that it does have strong back included, and you can see it. So I have that set up, and so we ran that, and we got a text similar to this. This is actually the test readout. But after it seemed to deploy perfectly fine, and however, when it was totally unresponsive to the joystick when it was moving. There was some things going around with the hardware team. Half the right motor was unpowered at the time, so there could have been any number of things preventing it from working. So we didn't get a chance to test it again. We were already at 6 o'clock. So we ran out of time on giving it another run. So we need to find answers tomorrow to this Victor question, making sure that the joystick and is passable, that this one will be compatible enough, and that that this throttle is properly configured for our joystick, so it adjusts the sensitivity well. And so that means we need to do a little thinking about this logic. And Mr. Hirsch explained it to me, and I sort of understood it, but now I need to go over it again to really appreciate what's going on here. Then we'll see if it starts to work. If not, we'll need to perhaps adjust some of these configurations. Or if we really just can't figure it out and can't find an answer to this, then we can just give up on using the StrongBad starter class and instead go back to the WPI tank drive class that Daniel was using before and was working fine. We would, however, lack the nice benefits of StrongBack, including a lot of methods that make our lives easier. However, if our joystick isn't supported in the library, then that might take away from why we would want to invest in adapting this solution to our bot if there's a lot of bottlenecks or technical complications. Whatever the case may be, once we've restored basic movement, then we are going to connect the motors and then bind some buttons to raise and lower that. That means, Daniel, I do think this is a good idea, that even if we can't go back to the WPI tank drive example bot, that we can stick with using the throttle if at all possible to link that with the sensitivity. So that seems to make a lot of sense about how we can drive it more delicately. And then we'll bind button objects to the raise and lower event, maybe buttons that are on the controller. And we can also just go out to and buy one of these joysticks if that will make it easier. I mean, that's like 20 bucks. That's like no problem, and they'll have that in 10 different places nearby. We've got the lab open tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and I'll do the same thing Sunday. If people stop showing up and the lab is empty, I'll send out a warning over Slack. If no one's saying that they're on their way or that they're planning to come in not so long, then I'll shut things down early if we're feeling pretty confident about wrapping things up. Otherwise, I'll make sure that that breakfast, lunch, and dinner are provided for. That there will be, it'll be an comfortable place to work. Mr. Kaminsky will be visiting to help drive the build forward. I'm trying to get a couple other people potentially to help. We're talking to parents and some teachers that have mechanical and then electrical engineering experience. Mr. Nestoff is also going to make an appearance. I hope that he's not planning to go the whole thing, because this is going to be pretty extreme. This is going to be good, and we'll hopefully wrap things up. Thanks a lot.